is just so... I can't.
I said, I'm teaching you what the scholars think, and they're all pretty much on the same page.
Right.
People who have taken the time, this is what I was telling my Jewish friend, as he told me I was way off track. I said, people who have taken the time to look at Scripture in proper context, the Torah, from the Jewish perspective, the Greek perspective, all these different perspectives, the original readers, the authors, what everybody was thinking at the time, what was going on in the culture at the time, the historical perspectives, right? The meaning of the words, translations,
Culture,
people who have really looked at it from
their
every
whole life
point
is
of view.
Yeah.
Right? They've some of them dedicated their lives to like one book or four books in the Bible.
Right.
And they have poured their heart into it. And then they've went and read what everybody else has thought about it. These theologians are not dumb people.
Oh, they are very well read and yeah.
I've heard evangelicals say that theologians like that should never be listened to because they're just confused. They're actually very clear.
Well, you know what I have to say? I have to say anyone who says that is ignorant and should not be speaking.
Very, very ignorant. But my point was what I was telling my friend is these all. Why is it that all of these scholars who really dive into it, they don't perfectly agree on everything, but they are very similar.
Right.
They have similar
concepts. The
context.
concepts are the same.
Yeah, the concepts are the same. They're not same, but they're similar, right? We see,
the concepts are the same. It's just the little nuances and the details that are different. But like concept-wise, conceptually, they all agree.
And a lot of them will say, here's one way to look at it, here's another way to look at it, here's something else that's going on, we don't know for sure what's happening,
right?
And they'll lay it out.
This is where I stand, this is what I think, and this is why I think it.
Yeah. And they're all pretty much on the same page. Those that have those that don't have what I call a Fingerhut theology. Fingerhut theology is, if you ever ordered from a Fingerhut magazine, you get whatever's in that magazine. And you can only, if you have a Fingerhut credit card, you can only order from their catalog. You can't go and order from another store. So Fingerhut theology is you get what's available to you. You get what you were taught.
You're limited to the catalog.
That's it. You don't get to go beyond that. And theologians who aren't under Fingerhut theology, how is it that they're not under that? They don't have one directive. They don't have one way of thinking. Some of them are even atheists to a certain degree, or have been. And they went back and studied proper history, proper context, and they all came up with the same similar genre or positions. How is that?
Because facts are facts.
Exactly. It's only those that have limited themselves to a Fingerhut theology that have decided that they have created a doctrine that they're going to uphold and stand behind no matter what. No matter what reality is. Yet these theologians who are not beholden to doctrines.
Right.
They're not beholden to the doctrines. They're not beholden to a specific belief system.
And there are people, because I've had people create podcasts going against me on this topic that don't know me. There are people who will be very upset with saying that these people aren't beholden to doctrine, but that's what you want. Because they're not looking at it to prove their point. They're looking at it to discover the truth.
Yeah.
And the amazing thing is that the truth always comes back as Jesus is the Son of God, Jesus died, Jesus rose. That is the truth that everyone who looks for the facts finds.
Yeah.
So I'm totally okay with these people going at it without a set of doctrine because they're looking for truth.
And they spend a massive amount of time on it. They all come to a similar point. And yet those stuck in weird systematic systems of belief can't see it.
Nope.
They decide what it is. They have one translation. And they have what they call a self-affirming group of people. Those are the only people they allow to speak into their lives are those within that Fingerhut doctrine. Yes, this is a good product. It'd be like it'd be like if a Fingerhut employee was giving the reviews for every single purchase.
Pretty much.
Yes,
it's great
product. It works really well. There's no problems with it. Came on time, right? There is no outside person saying, actually, I tried the product and it does not work at all.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Doesn't match
work.
the life of Jesus. Doesn't like this. This is a thing that I don't understand. And the problem is that I'm not saying this in a derogatory way at all, but like, let's say the regular folk in church, they don't know what the scholars and academics believe and think because they don't follow them, and not because they don't know them. Sometimes too, it's kind of like they talk over their head.
Well, why don't they know them?
Because they only listen to the person on their pulpit.
Okay, and why doesn't the person in the pulpit know it?
That's what I was going to get to.
Oh.
That's the point. Why don't they know? Because these people, they go to school to become pastors, and they're not taught how to study scripture. They're taught how to run a business. They're taught how to run church. They're taught how to get more members in their church. They're taught how to create an ambiance that people love, how to dim your lights, how to create the mood, how to reference your preachings. And nowadays, it's not even about, let me teach you how to build your preaching. It's here's a preaching for you. You can just
sign up for our program and you get all of your messages available to you every week.
I mean, a lot of these sermon series that some of these churches do, you best believe that there's hundreds of churches also using the same sermon series.
Yeah.
Well, how come they had movies at the church and they had a movie at the church series and movies in the church? They're all buying it from the same place.
Yeah.
So the pastors aren't even studying
There's
the Bible.
There's literally like thousands of churches that are part of like one program. I won't give the name because I'm not going to slander them, but they're one program. I'm not saying it's a bad program. It's a good program, actually. I don't agree with their theology, but it's a good, well thought out program that someone put a lot of time and effort into. But there's thousands of churches that are perfectly copying those programs every single week.
But that's the problem. You have one person that has thought this out.
Yeah.
And so let's say I use it. I'm not thinking anything out. I'm not processing it. I'm not praying and asking God for direction of what my church happens to need. No, I'm just Fingerhut. This is the preaching. Here is the outline. These are the verses I'm going to read. These are the points I'm going to make. These are the keywords, the buzzwords. Here's the graphics for you. Here's what you're going to title it. Here's all the marketing for it. This is how you're going to push it out. This is how many weeks it's going to be. It's like, as someone who loves the Bible, it is just a cheap way to deliver the scriptures to people.
Maybe. If I was running a church, I'd do the same thing because that's how you grow a church, and you need to have a successful business in order to have a church. But I don't run a church that way.
And you and I disagree. Like,
we disagree.
I 100% do not agree. 100% do not agree. Because
I'm just saying I would do it because that's the only way to be successful.
I would never be able to do it because I have enough integrity to know that that's wrong. For the people.
But your church will fail then.
My church, the people who truly want God don't want that. And the problem is there's people in these churches who do want God, and that's all they have.
Yeah.
That's all they know. It's not their fault. But the people on these pulpits, all they know is that. They know business. They know how to grow it. They know tithes. They know what they need to say to make sure that they keep the money coming in so they can keep getting the money to pay and support their family.
So the major seminaries in the United States all follow a similar course, okay? They're not all the same, but they all follow a similar course layout. And what I mean by that is you get your bachelor's, right? Mm-hmm. You get your master's, and then you get your doctorate. Okay, And what you were talking about, the pastors having this teaching, being able to grow churches. That's what they're taught, right?
Right.
So that's true from the associates, bachelors, and all the way up to the master's level. Okay, some call it masters in divinity, masters. You could get a master in a lot of different things. They never, this is hilarious, they are never properly taught how to research and look at original context and how to even do that until they get to the doctorate level.
I know.
So,
and those people don't become pastors because now being a pastor is kind of beneath them.
So, which is so backwards. Some theologians have told me, Mike, they need to actually turn it on their head. They need to start.
That's how they
at
start.
The doctorate level. So in order to get an associate's, you should know how to research, how to study scripture in proper context. And I said, well, why don't they do that? And they go, why are churches run the way they are? They
don't want it.
They would fail.
They don't want it.
They would fail.
Mm-hmm.
They would, because what the pastors need is how to grow a congregation, how to make money, how to build a business. That's what they need in order to be successful. If they put doctorate at the bottom and understanding scripture, most of them would never become pastors.
They wouldn't have mega churches.
They wouldn't.
I'll
have
tell you that
churches.
much right now.
No, they wouldn't. And there's a lot of. He said the second reason why they don't do it is they need to indoctrinate the person first before they are let loose. Okay, follow me with this. They need to indoctrinate the person first in what they're trying to teach them before they turn them loose to go look at proper context so that they don't completely deconstruct from the church system. So they need to indoctrinate them into the church system first, make that their core and their base before they're allowed to go look beyond that so they don't get too far off track.
That's just ridiculous. That is just so... I can't.